In this presentation, we are going to discuss the roles and responsibilities of user departments in the procurement and contract management cycle. In this slide, we present the names of participants who have prepared this presentation. The outline of the presentation will go as follows. First, we shall give the introduction and definition of terms, give an overview of roles and responsibilities of different players in the procurement and contract management cycle. And specifically, we shall discuss the roles and responsibilities of the user department, and finally give the conclusion. Procurement refers to a process of identifying, sourcing, and managing resources that an organization needs or may need to fulfill its strategic objectives. This is done through a cycle which is called a procurement and contract management cycle, and this refers to a sequence of stages that are undertaken right from identification of the need to servicing of that need for that organization. Organizations usually have user departments, and according to the PPDA Act of 2003, it defines a user department as a department, division, branch, or section of a procuring and disposing entity. And this includes project units that are working under that entity that is procuring or initiating the procurement. Examples of user departments may include finance and administration department, marketing and advertising department, human resource department, among others. In this slide, we present the roles and responsibilities of the different players in the procurement and contract management cycle, including the user department, as indicated in the pink boxes. In the subsequent slides, we shall discuss in detail the roles and responsibilities of user departments in the procurement and contract management cycle. Over to you, Tino.
The first role of the user department is to prepare work plans based on approved budgets. User departments prepare work plans stating what they intend to do and what they require to achieve their goals. Departmental work plans enable ample time to plan for procurements, avail the required resources, and facilitate better negotiations for the items needed. Planned procurements are what the conveniences that come with emergency procurement, such as procuring poor quality goods at high prices. The second role is to prepare statements of requirements or specifications. User departments develop specifications describing the nature of items needed to facilitate their work. Specifications help quicken the procurement process as less time is spent on getting what is needed by the department. For instance, if the user department needs mobile phones for their communication, and they've clearly stated that they need Samsung phones of a model A12 with a 32 gigabyte storage, that will lessen time of looking for ambiguous phones on the market. Specifications must be precise and concise. Ambiguity in the specifications may result in inappropriate or incomplete responses from potential suppliers. Over to you, Philomena.
User departments initiate the procurement process, and they do this by submitting a written and sufficiently detailed request to the procurement unit. For example, a new software for the market department. And these requests are usually done in writing and have to be sufficiently detailed. Organizations such as the public sector use Form 5s to raise the need of their departments, while the private and third sectors develop a user-friendly purchase form. And these forms must be signed off by the heads of department for tracking purposes. They also conduct evaluation of bids. The user departments here provide technical input, particularly at the technical evaluation stage, and their input is vital for procurement such as insurance services, legal services. And through this evaluation process, they are able to determine the suppliers that meet their actual requirements. So they make recommendations to the contracts team committee regarding which supplier actually meets the needs requirements. Thank you. Over.
Okay, so the other role for the user department is to contract supervision and management. User departments are responsible for supervising the contracts that have been awarded to the service providers. And in the public sector, contract managers are appointed, and their role is basically to give feedback back to the procurement unit that actually the service providers are doing exactly what they've been contracted to do, and also they maintain the copies of the contracts awarded. Next, the other role is user departments prepare and justify contract amendments. So during the supervision phase, amendments might arise of the contract that they are servicing. So these amendments could be to either delete, modify, or introduce any new terms to the original contract. And the user departments must give a justification of why these amendments are necessary to the procurement unit. And these amendments are subject to agreement by both parties to that contract. Over to you, Carol.
And the user department recommend variations to contracts to the accounting officers in case there is any variation needed to be made on the LPOs or contracts. And these variations could arise from errors, unforeseen conditions, and emerging risks. So here, an assessment is usually made and an appropriate sign-off sought from the businesses before the variation is concluded on. The next point could be the user department also responsible in informing the accounting officers to terminate the contract in case the terms of reference are not valid. For instance, failure to commence work, failure to complete work, or deliver goods within the agreed period of time. And usually in such cases, the contractor is responsible for the additional costs incurred by the procurement department, usually compensated in a form of a percentage of the work, of the value of the work not completed. Over to Herbert.
Yes, quality check is also another responsibility of the user department, and it is normally done whenever goods or services are delivered. This is also called, it could be also quality control, of which it basically concentrates on ensuring that goods that are delivered are of the right quality. Quality control also looks at determining and making sure that all the goods that are delivered are of the right quantity and with the right specifications for the desired use of the institution. Another responsibility is appraisal of service providers. This can be normally done from the provider's premises or at the organization. It is periodically conducted depending on the interests of the organization. However, the user department will always focus on improving proficiency and via performance, quality, quantity, and delivery from the service providers. Periodical performance appraisal, whenever it's conducted by the user department, it helps the procurement and disposal unit in pre-qualification exercise when they are selecting or assessing suppliers' performances, basically the existing suppliers. Appraisal also further helps in making sure that the user department is aware of the duties that were previously performed by the service providers, how well they performed or poor they performed. This one will always help the user department in selecting the eligible service providers in saving time and resources. Over to you, Sowen.
Other roles of user departments include them participating in conducting due diligence, where they're able to identify and mitigate risks that are associated with a particular service provider that an organization tends to do business with. They also participate in contract negotiations to ensure that an organization gets favorable terms in the contract. They certify invoices acknowledging that goods have been delivered and they're of the right quality, and then payment can be effected. They prepare reports that are required for submission to the procurement unit or any committee that is instituted to review the procurement, and they also report to the accounting officer. In a nutshell, user departments are key players in the procurement and contract management cycle, and their effective involvement can highly contribute to the acquisition of goods of the right quality and mitigate risks that are associated with the procurement and contract management cycle. Thank you for your attention.